Greetings there, greetings there. I trust everyone is well. As I sit down and record this video, I see something that says rise and shine. That's quite ironic because it's rising and shine time. Now, this conversation will be about something I came to realization recently. Every person says they want God-like power. They want God-like power, but are they willing to take God-like responsibilities? Are they willing to take God-like responsibilities? You see, at the current place I am employed, I was speaking to one of the long-time managers who's been there for like 18 years. And I asked him, I said, at your level in this company, do you have more power? And he immediately said, no, I don't have more power, I only have more responsibility. And when he said that response to me, I can tell he was being a bit diplomatic because he don't want to say he's so powerful in front of all the other people. But he is saying a crucial point. At his level, he has a lot more responsibility than an entry-level employee. And let's go even higher than that. The person who's running a whole country has a lot more responsibility and power to the people in the country. Let's go higher than that. A person who runs the whole globe has a lot more responsibility and power. Let's go higher than that. The person or entity that runs the entire universe has a lot of responsibility and a lot of power. Now, if we zoom back in and realize, okay, how can I increase the power in my life? How can I increase the power in my life? And when you realize you can increase the power in your life by increasing your responsibility, by adding things to your plate which are aligned to you, which will serve others and yourself down the line. For example, if I just say, I'm going to buy a motorcycle because I want to be more responsible for things, but that's not aligned to who I am. I'm not a motorcycle driver. I don't care to be a motorcycle driver. But if I say, I'm going to run events on the weekends for people to have games and sports to play, that's more responsibility. That's more work on my plate. But that's also, at the same time, more power. Here's the reason why I say that. When you add more to your list of things where you're responsible for, you are then accountable for those things and have a say in how those things go. If I say, you know what, I will start to run different games on the weekends for adults and children and elders to play, I am adding more things to my plate, which means therefore I'm more responsible for the things that happen in those spaces that I create. But at the flip side, I'm more powerful when it comes to handling those spaces. Now, who's to say you even want power? I was talking to my lady about this. We were talking about how some people don't want to be powerful because of the responsibility that comes with it. Some people don't want power. Some people don't want power so much that they will be willing to give the power to the next person so they can relinquish themselves of the responsibility of being powerful. And when I realized that people are willing to shy away from power because of the responsibility alongside, ironically, it makes sense to me. So in the esoteric space, esoteric means hidden knowledge, there's the idea that the 98% of people on the globe are asleep. 98% of people. And 2% of people on the globe are awake or are aware of these hidden knowledge. Let's do some calculations. 8 billion people on Earth. 10% of 8 billion is 800 million. 1% of 8 billion is 80 million. 80 million is 1%. Multiply that by 2 to get 2%. 160 million people. 160 million people out of 8 billion on Earth are aware of things that are going on. That's crazy. And then when I think about that, I say to myself, out of those 160 million, who says you even want to have power? I'm going to tie this to a point my grandfather said to me in Jamaica. He said, Taj, aim to be number one. I was like, why should I aim to be number one? I thought it was just another one of those parent or parental figure statements so you can aim for the stars. But he said, Taj, aim for number one because you know how your heart stays. I said, what do you mean by that, Grandpa? He says, you know how your heart stays. You know the temperaments you have. You know that you're caring and compassionate. But there's a next man out there. There's the next lady out there whose heart stays different than yours and who will be willing, hear me clearly, willing to step on people to get to that number one position. And when he said that to me, it really dawned on me. I have to aim to be number one. I relinquish my responsibility because I don't want to be powerful. I relinquish my power because I want responsibility. That shit can't work no more. You have to claim the power, Taj, and not be power hungry. No. We claim it as it comes. When inspiration comes to us for things to do, we act upon it because that is where all power stems from. All power stems from that internal realm. Hear me clearly. All power stems from that internal realm. You may have physical power, like muscles, but there's the strongest thing. You may have power of intellectualism, being very intelligent, being not the smartest thing in existence. You may have the power of beauty and seduction. You're not the most beautiful or seducing thing in the cosmos. You may have power of the most resources at your disposal, but you're not the most abundant thing in the cosmos. So once we understand that I can have power, I can be responsible for my power, and understand that even if I get the most powerful I can get in this lifetime, as close to source energy as I can get in this lifetime, I have to understand that there is a cap to the power. Imagine you had limitless power and limitless time. Your identity would go. Because how could you even wrap your mind around that? How could you wrap your mind around that? So my closing remarks would be this. First, if you claim to want power, if you claim to want to be a more powerful person, understand that responsibility is in a deep marriage with power. Secondly, understand that have power for the sake of serving others and for the sake of uplifting others. If you only have power to beat down on people, if you only go to the gym to get big muscles to beat down on people, at a matter of time, someone's going to beat down on you. Or at the very least, you'll just pass on. And lastly, understand that many people don't want power. Many people want to give their power away because they're afraid of responsibility of the power. They're afraid of accountability. So if you know you have that streak of being powerful, leaning, if you have that streak of taking responsibility when others want to run, if you have that trait of being a stepper upper, an initiator, a shot caller, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane and get powerful in your lane. Because I noticed something. On YouTube is a great anecdote. There's people who all they eat is competitive food competition videos. All they do is competitive food competition videos. And all that they do is competitive food competition videos. They're powerful in that space. They tell people the proper techniques how to competitively eat food. They tell people what drinks to eat the food with. There are people on social media who make their livelihood from being the person with knowledge when it comes to paint, to the color yellow paint. Think about that, bro. Think about that. There's someone out there who is powerful in a domain you call trivial, but in that same domain, people are on their body for their expertise. You get the point. You get the point. You want to be godlike? Be powerful in your domain and take responsibility at the same time. Respect to the people out there.